Hello and welcome to Stocks Advisor channel. Here at our channel we are looking for interesting buy opportunities for US-based stocks. Today we will speak about Trevena Incorporated, traded at NASDAQ, ticker name TRVN. Well, TRVN has shown these 2 days incredible behavior. So last trading session, actually before today's trading session last Friday, it really went down a lot. So showing this very strong piercing red candle, but today it made almost 2 times from previous low, previous trading session low from 179. It reached up to 3.6 area. So of course the question would be what has happened, and as we know, for many medical therapeutical companies, these kind of movements are usually driven by FDA news. So and the news is that it was announced by the company Trevena that its new class 4 opioid drug was approved by FDA to be used for acute pain patients. Well, it's a good news, of course, good result for developing such a drug, but it's important to understand the future of the stock, because it's now dragging a lot of attention. It's in all news, all discussions, but the question is, what's about the momentum? So what will be happening as a trading, let's say tomorrow and next trading sessions, and what's about the company itself and its news and its drug? What's the future? And we need clearly to distinguish these two. So to understand both, now let's start looking at Trevena. First, let's have a look at its general history of behavior from the COVID depth, which was actually seen at 17 of March, and it was about in actually these levels, and this was not the most minimum. Actually it reconfirmed this minimum again, and at about beginning of April, and then started its recovery sequence, and it was nicely, actually strongly linearly recovering, and this recovery trend, you can call it trend 1, was many times reconfirmed and slightly pierced many times, and followed actually moving average 20 as a support line here, the green. By the way, we have 3 moving averages here, 20, 50 and 200 being green, blue and red lines correspondingly. So after having last Friday the piercing of trend 1, green line, many people thought, okay, that's the end of the uptrend of the recovery, because we had sequence of downwards red candles here. But no, it actually was kind of a dump before the jump, and we saw indeed today enormous jump, but it didn't sustain. So on news it jumped almost 100%, but it didn't sustain. It has shown a dark candle, and now the question is this dark candle so-called evening star, so meaning its end, and then there will be just correction, as we saw many times, for example in March, somewhere middle of March, then some temporarily wave ending candles, 11 of May, etc., etc. Here you see small examples. Of course, these were just technical candles, but this one of today, it's news based. And now the question is, what will be happening? Well, again, we need to understand the momentum and the general, let's say, grounds of the news. So speaking of momentum, what can you say? It's absolutely unpredictable. Will depend, although we need to understand this is a small capacity company. It's only about, let's say, now we need to see, because it was very volatile, but it's from 300 to about 400 millions market capacity, and therefore you need to understand, okay, they were able to develop the drug. Still the question is, it's not really the drug that cures something, it's actually painkiller, and it's a severe painkiller. So speaking of the general, let's say, news, and what does it bring? So it's a painkiller drug. It's not that it has its massive usage, because the amount of patients is limited. Usually these are like acute pain, usually the terminal stages, and let's say very rare cases, terminal stages, and it means that, let's say, the forecast for the drug is not huge. Also, don't need to forget that there are a lot of competitors already occupying the market of strong opioids, and it will be very hard for such a small company to beat those, because its production capacities are actually, with having this small market capitalization, is almost zero, you can say. Therefore, they most probably will try to sell the drug or to be bought out by some bigger giant companies. And if this happened, of course, again, based on this beautiful news, it might bring another jump. So what would probably happen after having unpredictable volatility these days? It might be jumping tomorrow again even higher, or it could be from higher going down. So let's say this box is completely plus 100 minus 100% is completely volatility. Everything is possible here, and it's just casino. But in general, to understand, after dust will settle, there will be strong correction for the company, because although it's a positive news, they have a product to sell, but they don't have means to really occupy the market and to produce it. So there will be, after having somewhere volatility waves, there will be a correction. And correction is a question until it will go. It might be, let's say, till the levels of recent volatility. So there are several lines where the correction might go. Actually, it could be here, these levels, or even lower. It will really depend, because also it will depend on the amount of short selling that will come in these volatility waves. So there will be several lines of correction. It could be even like this. So there will be several, let's say, technical lines of correction. Of course, there could be another levels as well. It will be very volatile. But what is important to understand, there will be correction, and we will see where it goes once the correction starts to happen. And when you see the deceleration of correction, then it will be probably interesting moment to buy Trevena if you are really like a trader mentality. If you are more like casino mentality, of course, you are now having the, let's say, the ball. You can play with it, and it's today, tomorrow it will be crazy. But speaking of the company itself, of the drug, it's not really a curing drug. It's just a painkiller for terminal phases, and a market is occupied, so it will be very hard to sell it. So most probably all these news, that inability to produce massively, lack of production plants, because also to produce the drug in factories following certain standards, it's very costly, and it costs more than 300 million, so it costs more than capitalization of the company itself. Therefore, most probably there will be buyout, and buyout will come later after some considerations and discussions. Once this comes, there will be, of course, another jump. But the question is from which levels it will start, and this we will need to see from the settling. So here the question, the message is be patient, see the settling, and then enter it, hoping for mid-longer term buyouts, because once there is a product which is FDA approved, of course, now big guys, big companies, big pharma companies will look precisely on it, whether they can buy and commercialize it. And again, there is not such a huge forecast expectation for this one, because it's a terminal stage painkiller, and yeah, you can't make much profit for it. So it also means that company can't be sold for huge amount of money. So it's not like for other small companies that produce curing drugs, and after it's approved by FDA and buyout comes, they jump like 10, 100 times in one day. Most probably here it won't happen. But again, it might even jump several times up, but from which levels? It might return to level of moving average 200 even here, or pre-COVID state, because actually having a product is a good thing, but inability to push it further, it's another problem, yeah? And also, don't need to forget another thing, that, okay, product is developed, it's nice. If there is nothing else in pipeline, it also would mean that all research capacities are not really expected anymore, and then the question will be what will be in general future of the company after it's sold. So there are a lot of serious considerations and which you need to take into account. And this goes a little bit beyond the chart analysis. It's really about company analysis and financial and fundamentals analysis, being expert in the field. So it might be a little bit difficult to go that area, to think in that area, but in this case, that's what you need to think of and to be careful of. And as I said, Tomorrow is a volatility feast, so enjoy it if you like it. But usually it's more like a casino. That was it for Trevena. Thank you for watching. We also want to drag your attention to the fact that now we have our page on Facebook. You can find it by either quick search at Stock Advice or just looking for Stock Advisor as a page. There we also post our videos. So if you are a fan of Facebook, please follow us there. Otherwise, follow us on YouTube. Also, we would like to inform you that we have a mobile application. Momentarily, it's only for Android devices. Later, it will be put also for iOS platform. On this free mobile app, you have latest 15 stocks given as a list with advised average entry price. And this you can keep as a list always with you in a pocket, so you can refresh in your memory. And once you are interested, of course, in particular stock, you are always welcome to return to our YouTube channel and watch the video with more detailed explanation. So thank you on that as well. That was it for Trevena. Good luck with it. Wait for correction and possible buyout news. Thank you.